Hey guys, thanks for watching IPL5 today, but one last second, we actually have a post-game show for you. Myself, Jatt, Scarra, really looking forward to it, which is actually nice because I actually didn't get to see those TSM games, so you guys can go over them for me.
Yeah, well, Scarra probably had a chance to watch them. I'm hoping awesome. So what did you really think? Let's take it back to the even very start of it. So much of those games were about, I think, Ambition out-farming Reginald. Was that something that TSM opted into, or was he just getting outplayed?
It's something that TSM opted to do. Like when TSM starts losing, Reggie looks to make plays, like because he's their main playmaker, and so he decided to just go and look to make plays as sacrificing his CS. But he was able to actually swing back the first game. It's like the first game just seemed like a street brawl. Like people were just like, let's go here, let's scrap. 5v5 with Rez would go back with scrap again, and I was like, what is happening here? But
that was awesome.
Yeah, TSM kind of dragged it into their pace. In really weird fashion. And I was really surprised / depressed / just weirded out, kind of. But yeah, the first game, the farm difference on the Ambition eventually just was too big, I think.
So what would have you done in that situation then? Because Reggie did fall behind. He started making plays. I think we can agree that was probably the right call because they were really falling back in that. But then that street brawl fashion just eventually faded out. I was kind of lost in the confusion in that game. Was there anything in particular that swung it for Azubu Blaze? Because they were brawling and brawling and brawling. And then just out of nowhere was a 5-0 fight and they took Baron. What happened?
TSM definitely was winning up until the last team fight, which was 5-0, or one of the last team fights. It was just Reggie getting caught with that hook with his flash down, being extremely out of position. They had to collapse to save Reggie, and he got bursted down, and there was nothing you can do. Like once you get that, you can't connect to the back line without Reggie. That's pretty much it. Like the TF died and his GA got wasted. Like he decided to go super defensive items. He built Abyssal into Zhonya's into GA, and I didn't really think he really needed GA. Like he didn't even use his Zhonya's in that fight. He kind of just blew away his GA cooldown, and they won it cleanly without any damage from TF. He was pretty much there just to CC Reggie once and get a clean pick.
Very cool. So that actual brawl strategy, I mean, as opposed to what we've seen from TSM earlier in the day, you'd say that was what brought it even for them? The fact that instead of forcing these lanes where they're potentially going to lose those 1v1 individual matchups, those team fights, it just allows them to keep the gold at a low gold game and potentially hold on?
It was just a way for them to get back into the game. I don't think it would have worked against a team that was very disciplined. Like, because it was like, pretty much you have to tell yourself not to get greedy. You get one clean kill, and you don't chase. That's it. But Blaze got pretty greedy. They thought it would be a clean sweep because they were winning pretty hard early, and they just kept forcing fights in bad positions with numbers down, and it just turned out to be actually pretty bad for them. They almost lost the first game.
I'm honestly a little surprised. I walked in to see that TSM was almost winning the second game when it was a comp that we've seen Azubu Blaze run a number of times before, having that Diana. The only difference that I've seen is they would run Lulu on Listboy as opposed to the Sona, but Nocturne on Helios is definitely one of his favorite champions, and that whole comp, it allows to allow Diana to dive in and set up this AoE for the team and then disengage and reinitiate. It seems very strong, but what was it about TSM in the second game that allowed them to keep it close until Azubu Blaze got that one awesome fight?
I wasn't 100% focused on the second game, so Jatt should take over for here.
I'd really say the second game was Dyrus keeping them in it. He got pretty damn fed on Olaf, and it was really, they had to wait a while until they could kill that monster that is a 6-0 Olaf at the start, 6-1 Olaf at the start of the game. And from there, it was really just Azubu kind of out farming, and then they just caught the right team fights with Diana. Diana hit the back line, and everyone else came afterwards, right? So the second game was a little bit more simplistic in the way it went out. It was a stall, one really great team fight. They had Nocturne, Aurelia, Diana, triple dive. They hit that one fight just right, and there was really no coming back.
Well, that was actually kind of similar to what we've seen from Moscow 5. So I was on the other side taking a look at Moscow 5 versus Meat Playground. Game number 1, the Yi comp, once again a pentakill for Alex Ish.
Two pentakills.
No, he got four.
I heard that actually.
Yeah, Quadra. And then the 5th kill was stolen by Genja.
Oh, yeah, sorry, you're right. But very close to a pentakill, and it was the fact that just as the game progressed, they weren't really forcing fights early on. They would just stall, and wait for that one sweet fight. Once Darien in particular was tanky enough that they could set up that, Master Yi along with the Amumu. But game number 2 was actually a really close one. Meat Playground, they started off, they had a massive gold lead and slowly built on it. Katarina got extremely fed, and Light Sludge looked like he was going to take it. Did you actually get a chance to check out that game?
Yeah, I watched that game quite a bit because it was really interesting. Katarina started the game 8-1, and the only reason they were in the game was because Alex, playing Eve, was doing all these big plays. He's picking Light Sludge on Tristana off all the time. And they got to a situation where they came back from a 15K gold deficit, and to the point where even though Katarina was 12-2, they were able to slowly kite out the fight and force situations where Kat couldn't get resets. And Alex would be able to just pincer the back line and get free kills on the AD carry.
It was actually really insane to see how much AoE damage they were doing, because it seemed like, Meat Playground would be a little bit too tanky because they had a Warmogs on their jungler, they had a Sunfire Cape on Shen on their top lane. So that game in particular, when they had that massive gold lead, it seemed like they could maybe just push in and force M5 back, but they seemed kind of scared of Moscow 5. Do you think that was the case, or were they right to be scared even with the gold lead that they had?
In that game, the only one who was farmed was Alex, and so if they pushed for a wrong fight against Amumu and Eve, they would definitely get, it would be a bad situation. They could have played it much better, though, because a lot of the reason why Eve was able to make plays is because they didn't pink ward their retreat route, and had they done that, Eve, it's really hard to get in with Eve. But playing against Eve is something that you have to do a lot to realize that you need a lot more pink wards in that matchup than any other matchup in the game.
Yeah, so M5 moves on, obviously. TSM out of the tournament. We saw, I think, 6 teams eliminated today. But, I mean, this was, like all these days are going to be crazy full of action. What was the biggest surprise for you guys coming into this? Because CLG's in the winner bracket finals over CurseU. I was personally very surprised by that. Fnatic 2-0 TPA. Really, so much happened today. Just kind of a quick recap. What do you think was the most surprising thing that happened this tourney? Or today, actually.
Definitely Fnatic. I don't think anyone expected that. The odds on that in my head were like 1,000-1, and they pulled it off.
Yeah, I think everyone has to agree for Fnatic, but to see CLG NA potentially emerging as such a strong NA team, and Meat Playground actually putting on a decent showing against M5 as well. It's really cool to see some of the parity once again on the international scene, and we know that it's still building in that direction, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we actually have an NA team. So what are the matchups for them? We have an NA team, an EU team. We also have Fnatic, 2 EU teams, then World Elite, and a Chinese team as well. So that's a lot of worldwide coming out in the winners bracket finals, and that's not even counting the teams in the losers. So really awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool, but it's going to be interesting to see what games are going to be coming up tomorrow. I know we're going to look forward to talking about them tomorrow. We'll have a pregame show for you guys. Thanks once again for enjoying this wonderful evening. IPL5, guys, it's been a really fantastic show. I love all of the audience members who are out there watching as well, and thanks for tuning in. This has been League of Legends IPL5.